Hey, how are you? I'm doing great. I just came back from beautiful, sunny, warm California. And I can see why people love it out there. It was absolutely spectacular. I was at my nephew's wedding. Um, who could ask for anything more? Full of love and joy and great dancing and good food. And it was great. Absolutely amazing. So I'm back a little casual today. Maybe not compared to other days, but I feel casual. I got sandals on, so that makes me casual. Anyway, I have like a lot of things. I always have a lot of things I want to say, and then I go, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So I think one of these themes that's been running through a lot of sessions lately, it's sort of like the more I kind of study over here and integrate what I study, and then practice it here with clients, whether on the table or in the counseling room here. It's just a new way of looking at things I've already talked about, which is this concept of our wounded parts and in relationship to the wise adult self. So let me draw. So the wise adult self, right? Grounded, connected, has a sense of congruency, authenticity, gives him or herself permission, right? Just this sense of living and witnessing one's life with a sense of curiosity, and is a function of how well the wise adult self integrates all these wounded parts, which I draw the standard 4-pack. There's a lot. Some people, there's a lot. Sometimes we have parts that split and split and split and split and split, and it's a lot. So the ability to integrate however many parts there are is what keeps the wise adult self just really developing, deepening, and expanding. And when we can live from here, life is just sweet, and it's really more simple. And I believe, I know some people might disagree with this, I believe we all have the capacity to get here. I'm not saying it's an easy road, but I think we can. We can work on the skills and the tools. The interesting part that's come to me lately, hold on, let me get into that, is among these parts, well, first of all, I started calling this because, I don't know, maybe it was a slow week in the office and I had to come up with a new term or something. But the collection of wounded parts, I call now what I put total shelf, I don't know. I guess I'm coming up with a new one. Top shelf. I call it the top shelf. And up here, what is curious to me is that a lot of people have this part up here, the intellect, that can rationalize anything going on up here. And the bigger the intellect part in here is usually the smaller the wise adult self is. Or, quite honestly, there is no wise adult self. We could just erase that, but I don't really want to do that. The intellect part, it's sort of interesting for me watching people when this part comes on board, because it's very obvious. Because the language, I pay attention to language, I pay attention to how things are said, I pay attention to what's happening in the body when things are said. And there are many people who are convinced that when they're here, they're really talking from this place. And so just like a good strand of COVID or a good virus, the intellect has a part, another part, that is really good. That one has a few extra legs, but that's okay. We accept all. The intellect part has a part that, just like a good virus, is very fast adapting and is constantly learning if there's any wise adult self on board, or even if there's the discussion of a wise adult self in counseling. This part is very good at mimicking the language and behaviors of a wise adult self. And so people come in all the time using all the right words and trying really hard to say it like it's really happening, but it's up here. It's a top shelf part. In fact, it's a top of the top shelf part, right? And it can really get in the way of deepening here because you think you're doing everything right. But Deej, I'm shifting and I'm doing this and I'm breathing but it's when I hear it, there's an emptiness in the quality of voice. There's a loss of eye contact. There's everybody has their thing, right? Some people it's a smile, some people it's a flick of the foot. That tells me it's coming from here instead of here. When someone's coming from here, it has a whole different energy. It's amazing. No matter what this offers, it's amazing because it's so real. It's so grounded in authenticity and connection, and that shows up here. So this has been showing up a lot lately, and I just like this idea, this image of the top shelf. It's so much easier to tell people you're operating from your top shelf instead of, I don't know, whatever words I might come up with at that time. But this has been really a lot. This has showed up a lot in a lot of sessions lately because it's just so crystal clear to me about how that part can mimic and the behaviors and language of a wise adult self. Fascinating, and I know maybe I shouldn't say this, but it's fun for me to see that. It's not always so fun when I call it out on people. Ooh, maybe you should check that out. Maybe not so fun there, but it's fascinating to me to actually see this part develop in defense, right? I mean, that's who all these are all here in what they thought was the good of the whole. This part's no different. And always remember that all these parts on the top shelf, wherever they may fall, it's never about annihilation, it's about integration. And that integration is what makes the wise adult self. And so a quick little story, I promise, real quick, is the beauty of the wise adult self is that it brings out the sweetness in life. It brings out the ability to shift patterns, really. So for me, I've always had a hard time focusing and reading. School was always hard, and I was always better as a part-time student because I read and then I'm done. And after about 2 paragraphs, I'm done. I'm out. I'm doing 50 other things. And people might say if we were diagnosing, and maybe when I was a kid, if people were diagnosing ADHD, maybe. I'm not a diagnoser. I hate diagnosing. I think screw the labels. But what I realized, so when I was flying out to California, I'm reading an article that's on a course that I'm taking, that I'm in now. It starts on Friday, actually, on polyvagal theory. And I love it. I read this stuff and it makes so much sense and it's so exciting, and I'm not going to go into all the details of that with you now. But what I realized, because I do work on building my wise adult self, is that as I'm reading, I'm only 2 paragraphs in, and I'm ready to stop. Maybe I'll watch a movie, maybe I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm on an airplane, but eat, watch a movie, I don't know. And I started noticing from this place with curiosity, I was able to witness and say, what is it about? Why do I really want to read this article? I really want to do this course. Why is it that after reading 2 paragraphs, I'm done? Oh, I don't ask why. I was being curious, because I hate why. I was being curious. And I noticed when I landed, because I believe all answers are in the body. If you haven't heard that once, you've heard it 1,000 times. I started noticing my body. And really, it wasn't that I was distracted because I really wanted to go watch a movie or eat something or play with my feet or something. What I really was so friggin' excited about what I was reading. And what happens when I get excited is I'm like, oh my God, how do I apply this to Sundo? And how do I apply this to a certain patient? And how do I apply it to that patient? And what could I do with this? Where could I go with this? And my mind's go, blah. And I realized that somewhere in that buildup is usually in years past, and like I'm getting old here, so for most of my life, that's where I would have just jumped ship. I would have just said, I don't want to do this, I'm bored, probably. And I didn't. And I credit the work I do here and my Sundo practice, which is part of building this wise adult self, in that I was able to notice that. And sure, some of my top shelf parts were saying, you're so stupid, you can't even read this article for more than 5 seconds without having to go, you're this, you're that. all that was going on, I just looked at that and held that space from here with such gentle curiosity. Huh, there's that thought. Oh, there's that. Not trying to change it, not trying to fix it, just holding space, acknowledging, and from there, I was able to keep moving forward. I was like, I got you. We're not stupid. We're gonna just hang in here with this article a little bit longer. And I read the whole article. I couldn't believe it. Because I didn't go into struggle, I was just like, ooh, here's that part of me that wants to go do something else. Let me pause for a moment. I'm just really excited, and I want to learn, so I'm going to stay with this. Let me read one more paragraph. Let me read another paragraph. Ooh, there's that excitement again. Oh my God, I want to tell Beth. I want to tell my clients. Let me slow down. Notice what's happening. Come back. Read another paragraph. I read the whole article. I was shocked. I think, honestly, I've been in a lot of school, I've taken like 1 million courses in my lifetime, and I can tell you that it's the first time I sat down and read something from beginning to end. It wasn't like 1,000 pages. It doesn't matter. It was maybe 17 pages, but I did it. This work is amazing if you go on the journey. You can, and I believe everybody can, change the quality of their life by working on how they integrate, how they can be curious about what's going on, and resist and stay out of struggle. Life is sweet. I want you to feel the sweetness, taste the sweetness, and go have a good day. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.